today's geography lesson. It's the second lesson in which we learn about the Amazon rainforest. So before we get started, I'm going to show you a few things in my living room today that we're going to learn more about. So we've got an orchid here, and we find orchids in the Amazon rainforest. There are 65 different species of orchid in the Amazon rainforest, showing us how richly biodiverse the Amazon rainforest is. And this is also a tropical plant that you might find on the ground layer of the Amazon rainforest. And we can see that this plant is specially adapted to suit the living conditions in the Amazon rainforest because the leaves have a very large surface area in order to catch as much sunlight as possible, because in the Amazon rainforest, it's all about the struggle for sunlight. And the bigger your leaf, the more likely you are able to catch sunlight and be able to photosynthesize. So there's just a little teaser of some of the things we're going to learn about today. This is a Christmas tree, definitely not one you would find in the Amazon rainforest. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. So what you need today is a book or a piece of paper, preferably lined, a ruler to underline your titles as we do in school, and a pen. And first thing I would like you to do is write down today's question, which is, what biodiversity exists within the Amazon rainforest and why is it important? Please pause this video now, write your question and underline it with a ruler. Okay, now that you've written today's question, let's go through the review quiz from last week. I'm going to read out the questions and I would like you to write the answers in your book or on your piece of paper. Question 1. The Amazon is a tropical rainforest. This means it is what all year round? Choose one. A, hot and moist. B, mild. C, cold and dry. The Amazon rainforest is what all year round? Hot and moist, mild, or cold and dry? Pause this video now and write down your answer. Question 2. What continent is the Amazon located in? What continent, not what country, what continent is the Amazon rainforest located in? Pause this video now and write down your answer. Question 3. Put these countries into the correct column according to their share of the Amazon rainforest. For this question, I would like you to please use a ruler to draw out this table with 3 columns. There are 5 countries and you need to fill in 5 cells. This column, you only need to put 1 country in for the large share. So the question is asking to put in the country which has the respective share of the Amazon rainforest. So there's 1 country that has a large share, there's 2 countries that have a small share of the Amazon rainforest, and there's 2 countries that have no share of the Amazon rainforest because they are nowhere near the Amazon rainforest. So pause this video now as you complete this question. Question 4. What is the name of the bottom layer of the rainforest? You will remember that last week we learned about the 4 different layers of the rainforest, and this question is asking for the bottom layer. Please pause this video now and write down your answer. Question 5. True or false? The canopy receives the most sunlight. You'll need to think about where in the rainforest the canopy is and where you think there might be the most sunlight. Pause the video now and write down your answer. Let's go through the answers. Question 1. The Amazon is a tropical rainforest. This means it is hot and moist all year round. The clue is in the name. It's called a rainforest because it rains a lot. And what happens to the air when it rains a lot? The air becomes moist. The Amazon rainforest is tropical, and so it's located near the equator where it is more likely to be hot. So the answer is hot and moist. Please use a different colored pen to correct your answers, or highlighter or blue pen if possible. Question 2. What continent is the Amazon located in? The answer is the continent of South America, which I can show you here on the map of the world. This is a red continent. This continent is colored in red, and it is massive. It contains 14 countries. 12, I might need to look that up, either 12 or 14 countries. My mouse is hovering here over Britain, so you can compare the size of Britain with the continent of South America. Question 3, put these countries into the correct column according to their share of the Amazon rainforest. So, Brazil has the largest share of the Amazon rainforest, as we learned last week. Peru and Colombia, 2 other countries in the continent of South America that contain a small share of the Amazon rainforest. Ireland and Australia are far away from the continent of South America and have no share of the Amazon rainforest. Ireland is here where my mouse is, and Australia is here. So Ireland is across the Atlantic Ocean and Australia is on the other side of the world from the Amazon rainforest. Question 4. What is the name of the bottom layer of the rainforest? You see here in this diagram that the bottom layer of the rainforest is called the forest floor, where, as you can imagine, there is not much sunlight. Question 5. The canopy receives the most light, true or false? False. The emergent layer at the top receives the most sunlight. Canopy layer is one layer down. It does receive some sunlight, but not the most. So please mark your answers honestly. Now let's review some of the vocabulary that we learnt last week. If you can, I know we're not together, please repeat these words out loud after me. Rainforest. So rainforest is the climate that we are learning about. And it is a very richly populated forest with lots of plants and animal species. Biome. So biome is an environment like the rainforest that contains a certain climate and plants and animals. Tropical. So last week we learned the difference between a tropical rainforest and a temperate rainforest. I want you to think about which rainforest you think tends to be hotter, tropical or temperate? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it. Tropical. Tropical rainforests tend to be hotter because, why? They tend to be located more closely to the equator, which is the line that goes through, the imaginary line that goes through the middle of the Earth, around the circumference of the globe. So, a temperate rainforest, as we said, tends to be cooler and located further away from the equator. Climate. Climate is different to weather. Climate refers to the long-term conditions in a certain area. Precipitation. Precipitation is what comes out of the clouds and falls out of the sky. So can you think of some examples of precipitation? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about that. Examples of precipitation include rain, snow, sleet, and what we've been seeing a lot of in London recently, drizzle. Now let's learn some new vocabulary today. Biodiversity. This is what today's lesson is all about. The word diverse means a range of things, many different things. If you have a diverse range of interests, you're interested in many different things. And the word bio is a prefix, so a part of a word that comes at the beginning that suggests things to do with biology. So if you have biodiversity, if you have rich biodiversity, you have many different types of plant and animal species. And like I mentioned, the Amazon rainforest contains many different orchid species and loads of plants and animal species. Species are just different types of plants and animals. So for example, a dog is one type of species and a cat is another type of species, a jaguar and a tiger, but then you can also get different types of orchid species, as I just mentioned. Humidity. Humidity is how much moisture there is in the air, so how much water is contained in the air. Think about whether you would think that the Amazon rainforest has high or low air humidity. The answer is high. Because it rains so much in the Amazon rainforest, the air contains a lot of moisture. So we measure humidity in terms of percentage. Currently in London, it's about 84% degree humidity, I think. As you can imagine, in the Amazon rainforest, humidity is much higher. It's above 95%. And in other countries around the world, like Singapore, which is located almost bang on the equator, humidity is also very high. In the summer, London gets more humid and you can feel it in the air. It kind of feels a bit stickier. Pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical just means medicine. So you know the word pharmacy, where you go to buy your medication. Well, pharmaceutical derives from the same word. It just means medicine. So to cure illnesses and diseases, or to help cure. Let's learn some more about biodiversity. More than half of the world's estimated 10 million species of animals, insects, and plants live in rainforests. More than half of the world's species. Imagine that. So these include Sumatran tigers, orangutans, and jumping spiders, and poisonous pink millipedes. You won't believe the types of animals you can find in the Amazon forest. Like all tropical rainforests, the Amazon is a hotspot for biodiversity. In fact, this rainforest harbors 10% of the world's known species. So here are some statistics, some numbers showing you biodiversity in the Amazon rainforest. 40,000 plant species, 16,000 tree species, over 5,000 fish species, over 1,000 bird species, over 400 different types of mammal species, over 1,000 amphibians. So amphibians are animals that live both on land and in water, and over 400 reptiles. Which of these pictures shows a reptile? Point to it now. Yes, it's this snake, which is a reptile. The Amazon River. The Amazon River flows an impressive 6,600 kilometers, containing hundreds of tributaries and smaller streams. It's no wonder that it's home to the largest number of freshwater fish species in the world. Now, what do you think is the longest river in the world? Does anyone know? It's actually not the Amazon, it's the Nile River running through Egypt. However, which river in the world do you think contains the highest volume of water? It's the Amazon. So even though it's not the longest, it is the largest measured in terms of volume of water. Now, does anyone know what a tributary is? This word in bold. A tributary just means a part of the river that shoots off the main river. So we can see in this picture, there's a tributary there. It shoots off the main part of the river. There's another little tributary. So it's just a branch coming off the main Amazon River. Why does the rainforest have such rich biodiversity. We often talk about biodiversity being rich when there are a lot of different plant and animal species. So why? The high humidity creates a moist climate perfect for flourishing plants, because plants need water in order to photosynthesize. The wide range of plant species supports many different animals, birds, and insects. This is because of the food chain. So animals eat plants, and if there's a wide range of plants, there'll be a wider range of animals. Species have adapted to the conditions of the rainforest. For example, trees and plants have shallow reaching roots to absorb nutrients from the thin, fertile layer in the soil. And as I said at the beginning of the lesson, this plant has adapted to its natural habitat in the rainforest by having large leaves to capture as much sunlight as possible in order to photosynthesize. I mentioned the food chain earlier, so here are some examples of a food chain. The jaguar eats the bird or the pelican, which eats the blue butterfly, which eats the orchid. The jaguar eats the sloth, which eats the banana plant. Now, let me come out of share screen for a moment so that you can see I've actually got a real life butterfly from Brazil. This, as you see at the back, it says made in Brazil. This is from the Amazon rainforest. It's probably, I got this from my grandmother, so it's probably quite cruel to kill these, but I think it probably died of natural causes. But as you can see, just for size, look how big that butterfly is compared to my hand. It is massive, and it's the same as the butterfly there. So there's a very, very wide range of different plant and animal species. Also here, we're reading this book, The Explorer, at the moment, and we can see there's a butterfly here on the back, showing us one of the other different types of butterfly species. And we can also see in the front these beautiful multicolored parrots. So many amazing animals that you can get in the rainforest. Now let's go back to sharing my screen. Structure of the rainforest. As we already know, the rainforest is made up of 4 horizontal layers, and each has its own unique inhabitants. Question: why would you expect to find different plants and animals residing in each layer? Now, in order to answer this question, you need to think about the different conditions in each layer, thinking about sunlight and moisture, and also thinking about what the animals can do. It's not going to be very easy for an elephant to walk around the emergent layer 100 meters in the air. So think about that for a moment and pause the video. Let's read a bit more about the emergent layer. So which layer is this? Thinking about it? Yes, it's at the top. The kapok tree. A giant in the rainforest, the kapok tree can reach up to 200 feet in height, sometimes growing as much as 13 feet per year. You can almost see it grow. It grows so quickly. Due to its extreme height, it towers over rainforest vegetation. Birds of prey, such as the harpy eagle, nest and perch in the tall treetops, from where they can swoop down to snatch birds and animals below. How do you think this animal has adapted to its environment? It has fantastic eyesight so that it can see its prey. It has sharp beak so that it can eat its prey quickly. And it's got sharp claws so that it can stay fixed onto the branches without falling down. Okay, we're going to read a bit more about the richness of the biodiversity in the Amazon rainforest. I would like you to get out the worksheet that's called Life in the Amazon Rainforest, and we're going to read it together now. Life in the Amazon Rainforest. Among all biomes, tropical rainforests are considered to have the highest biodiversity. In a hectare plot of tropical rainforest land, so a hectare is 10,000 square meters, about 40 to 100 tree species can already be found. Aside from this, the tropical rainforest biome is home to the most common species and rarest organisms on our planet. The Amazon rainforest, the world's largest tropical rainforest, is one of the warmest yet wettest places in the world, making it an ideal environment for life. In general, it is divided into 4 layers. We know this: the emergent layer, canopy layer, understory, and the forest floor. These layers host several species of tropical animals and tropical plants. Let's start with the emergent layer. The first layer of a tropical rainforest from the top is called the emergent layer. The emergent layer consists of towering trees, basically taller than most trees in the forest, that protrude out of the rest of the plants in the area. Protrude is growing through the top, as we can see in this picture here. The average height is about 70 to 100 meters from the ground level. Thinking about some of the skyscrapers that you've seen in London, or some of the tall buildings around you, and think about how tall they might be compared to these trees. These trees, some of them are taller than your house, or some of the skyscrapers that you might see in the city. To grow in the emergent layer, plants and animals should adapt to the bright sun rays and yet strong winds. They tend to experience these environmental conditions out there. Many branches in the tree canopy are thin and cannot support heavy weights. This is what I was saying about jaguars being in the top layer. They couldn't go that high. Therefore, animals that live there are usually flying or gliding ones. So birds, maybe some lighter squirrels, flying squirrels. Now, I want you to pay close attention to what animals you find in the different layers, because the activity we're doing next will be you writing down which animals you might find in the different layers. Common animals in the emergent layer are birds of prey, such as harpy eagles, scarlet macaw, bats, insects, or rainforest monkeys, such as squirrel monkeys, and morpho butterflies. So I think this is a morpho butterfly, the blue colored ones. The trees found in this layer take huge advantage of the heights they're in. Because they're in the mostly open spaced areas of the rainforest, these trees tend to spread their leaves out as much as possible to get as much sunlight as possible. 2, the canopy layer. I would like you to read this out loud for yourself. So please pause the video now and read about the whole of the canopy layer yourself. And remember to pay close attention to what animals you find, because that's going to be our next activity. So pause the video now. Read just the canopy layer number 2. Three, understory. As compared to the first 2 layers, the understory is rather more humid and damper. So humid means more moisture in the air, feels stickier. Such humidity level is what keeps the animals in this layer alive. Why do we think the understory is more humid? Because the moisture is trapped in the air by the top layers. The understory is composed of shrubs, herbaceous plants, ferns, climbing plants, and young trees that are well adapted to areas receiving low sunlight. The tree trunks found here come in many different colors because of the presence of lower plants like mosses, lichens, and fungi, so mushrooms, that are attached to the trunks and branches of trees. Climbing plants and vines are also concentrated in this layer. So if you've ever seen Tarzan, you would have seen Tarzan swing on a vine. These plants first germinated on the forest floor and began to climb up by using a host plant until they reached the point where enough sunlight is present. As I said, in the rainforest, if you're a plant at least, it's about a fight for sunlight. Why? So that you can photosynthesize if you're a plant. In this layer of the rainforest, insects are most likely to be found. Of course, you get insects in every layer, but they're most prevalent in the understory. And because little to no seasonal changes occur in this layer, insects like mosquitoes can successfully breed all year long. So mosquitoes are an insect that you might have been stung by in the past. You don't have to worry so much about it here, but in some countries, mosquitoes can carry diseases such as malaria. And mosquitoes breed best in hot and moist conditions because they need water. So I would like you to read the rest of this page yourself out loud if possible, because it's important to practice your fluency. Also, I would like you to make a mental note of what animals you might come across in each layer of the rainforest. So pause this video now and read it for yourself. If you don't have the sheet in front of you, I'm just going to scroll down so that you can pause the video and read it here. So please pause the video, and after you've read it, I'm just going to read the last few sentences here about the Amazon rainforest. Despite being mega diverse, the tropical rainforest is considered to be one of the most threatened and most vulnerable biomes on Earth due to deforestation. Deforestation is cutting down trees. Whenever you see the prefix D in front of the word, it means the opposite, or taking something down. Around 80% of deforestation in Brazilian Amazon rainforest is mainly caused by the cattle sector. So cattle are cows. This is because people and farmers need to cut down the rainforest in order to allow the cows and the cattle to graze. It contributes to 14% of deforestation on Earth. So if you think about how important the Amazon rainforest is, deforestation is a very bad thing. Okay, once you have read this whole worksheet, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Now, remember I said that it's important to make note of what animals you might come across in each layer of the Amazon rainforest. So we're going to do an independent task now, where I would like you to note down what animals you come across in the emergent layer, the canopy and understory layer, which you can do together, and on ground level. I would like you to open with a statement acknowledging the biodiversity that exists within this biome and why that might be the case. I have modeled this under the visualizer so you can see what an answer might look like, but everyone's answer is going to look slightly different. So let me get this out. So as you can see here, I have written my title, Geography Independent Task, underlined it with a ruler, and started it with an introductory sentence. So yours might be different, but this is mine. There is a large amount of biodiversity, or if I were to improve this now, I would probably describe it as there is a rich biodiversity in the Amazon rainforest due to the high levels of precipitation and moisture. Number one, emergent layer. So you might find birds of prey, bats, insects, butterflies, and monkeys. Canopy and understory. Here you might find birds, lizards, monkeys, rodents, so rodents are mice and rats, and tree frogs. Ground level. Here you might find jaguars, elephants, the giant armadillo, and fungi. So please pause this video and complete your independent task using neat presentation. Okay, thank you for doing that independent task. We've got another one towards the end of this lesson, but before we do that, we're going to learn a little bit more about the importance of the Amazon's plants and animals. So this amazing rainforest is home to more species of birds, plants, and mammals than anywhere else in the world. The rich biodiversity helps to maintain an ecosystem. Many insects or animals will have a more diverse range of prey. Now, this is what I spoke about earlier about the food chain. If you have a more diverse range of plants, you will have a more diverse range of animals because the animals eat the plants further down the food chain. The plants and animals here are also used for food, medical research, scientific research, medicines, and textiles. Medicine. The Amazon is often referred to as the world's largest medicine cabinet, with around 25% of all pharmaceuticals, so medicines, used today derived from rainforest plants. Only 0.5% of the plant species found in the Amazon have been studied for their medicinal properties. This means that the Amazon may hold natural cures for some of the many diseases present today. So thinking about that, only 0.5% of the plant species found in the Amazon have been studied. There's so much more to be discovered about the amazing properties that Amazon rainforest plants may have, and we might be able to find more cures for diseases in the future. We probably will. The Amazon plants used for medicinal purposes. Bark from the lapacho tree is used in modern medicine to treat cancer, alleviate pain from chemotherapy, which is a cancer treatment, and fight infection. So obviously there's many ways of treating cancer, including chemotherapy and radiotherapy, but this is just one additional way in which one might treat cancer. One drug under development for treating HIV, which is a life-threatening virus, is derived from a tree discovered in Malaysian Borneo. So this is a country in Southeast Asia, Malaysia, where you also find rainforests. It's on a different continent to the Amazon rainforest, but it's another amazing rainforest where you find many orangutans. So this picture here is a picture of the amazing lapacho tree. Food. The seeds from cacao beans, so the fruit that falls from the cacao tree, are important ingredients in chocolate and coffee. Think about your advent calendar or chocolate that you eat. It might come from the Amazon rainforest. The acai palm tree grows naturally in the Amazon rainforest, and its berries, a health superfood, can be harvested without harming the forest or the species that live there. Now, I've noticed there's an acai berry cafe right opposite Art Franklin School. I've never been inside, but I've seen that this Brazilian superfood can even be bought right next to Art Franklin. The Brazil nut tree is one of the largest and longest lived in the Amazon. It produces seeds from which Brazil nuts are grown. These are big nuts that are very healthy and good for you. Vanilla, cinnamon, pepper, and cashew nuts are also grown in the rainforest. Now, of course, vanilla, cinnamon, pepper, and cashew nuts are not only grown in the rainforest or the Amazon rainforest, but you can definitely find them there. Other fruits of the rainforest. Avocados and bananas are the types of food that are grown in the Amazon rainforest. Bananas are harvested while they are still green. Then, within 24 to 48 hours, they are put in refrigerated containers and shipped elsewhere in the world. So by the time they arrive at Tesco's or Sainsbury's, they're more yellow, and by the time they enter your kitchen, they're hopefully perfectly ripe. Beauty products. Shampoo. Ingredients in shampoos, such as passion fruit, are also grown in the rainforest. Moisturizers, lots of moisturizers have Amazonian plants such as Brazil nuts or coconut oil in them, and vanilla seed pods. Vanilla is used in lots of desserts and other foods, but it also smells good, so we can use it for cosmetics, so makeup. The vanilla orchid grows in the Amazon rainforests. Now, we've learned so much about the amazing properties of the rainforest and what it does to our everyday life. We need to, for a moment, think about the health of the rainforest. So the Amazon rainforest absorbs a quarter of the carbon dioxide that is released each year from the combustion of fossil fuels. So the combustion of fossil fuels contributes and causes climate change, so the heating up of the earth. Plants photosynthesize and convert carbon dioxide to oxygen. So this is why people often refer to the Amazon rainforest as the lungs of the planet, because They convert carbon dioxide to oxygen, thereby reducing greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Now, remember, last term we learnt about Greta Thunberg, this young Swedish climate activist who is fighting against climate change, and she is an advocate speaking out against deforestation of the Amazon rainforest because it is so vitally important in our fight against climate change. Deforestation. In the past 40 years, a rainforest area twice the size of France was destroyed in the Amazon basin. The primary threat to the Amazon rainforest is man. Humans remove trees for lumber, so cutting down trees, to provide land for cattle and crops and to mine minerals. The removal of trees is deforestation. More than half of the rainforests in the world are already lost due to human activity. It's very sad, and here we have some horrible pictures of what was once beautiful rainforests being deforested and taken down. Okay, last independent task for today. I would like you to explain how the plants and animals in the Amazon rainforest provide important benefits to communities living near and far. And so to help you, you can set them out in these 3 different subsections: food, carbon dioxide emissions, and medicinal purposes. I have modeled this for you in this video. So let's jump to 3 ways in which plants and animals provide important benefits to communities living near and far. As always, would like you to underline this using a ruler and start with food. So you can pick different food to the one I've picked. You could choose bananas or avocados, Brazil nuts, vanilla, whatever you want based on what we've learned, and write a sentence explaining it a little bit. So I've written here cacao beans that are used to make chocolate. Number 2, a second benefit of the Amazon rainforest, carbon dioxide emissions. The Amazon rainforest absorbs a quarter of the carbon dioxide that is released each year from the combustion, so the burning of fossil fuels. And finally, medicinal purposes. 25% of all pharmaceuticals used today are derived from rainforest plants. So, really looking forward to seeing your submissions on Seesaw of all the amazing benefits that the Amazon rainforest has on people's lives around the world. Finally, you can see next week's review quiz up here. There's no need to necessarily go through it now, it's just giving you a little heads up. So I hope you enjoyed today's geography lesson. If you have any more questions about the rainforest, you can let me know. Have a wonderful day, Year 6.